I'll tell you who's next. Chellaine Shockness Haye is our next guest on Fempreneur Coach Connection, and she's talking irresistible paid products, aka IPPs. Chellane's a nationally recognized speaker, author, and coach who helps people transform their ideas into fun, creative, and profitable businesses. She believes that when given the knowledge, the necessary skills, and the access to opportunity, all people can be inspired to achieve their dreams, change the world, and make a living doing what they love. I'm super excited about this next one. Up next. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wanted something more? More in business, home life, relationship life? Say word if you agree. Word. In 2019, I created a business for coaches to market in this wacky way, virtual events. All with a 7 to 7 job. I'm a full-time nurse, by the way. And like you, there were just not enough hours in the day. My partner was feeling alone, and generally, this wasn't fun anymore. But then I realized I needed to build myself back up. Mind, body, soul, and even my business. So I created a show that does just that, interviewing all types of coaches, life, wellness, fertility, career, financial, wealth, and business. Join me on my journey with some of the best coaches who want to empower other coaches to live their best lives and build businesses that fulfill them. My name is Nicole Beatty, and this is Fempreneur Coach Connection. Welcome to the show, Chellaine.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm super excited to get into this because, these are one of those topics that is necessary. And for me, I think it's kind of fun to think about. So I'm excited to have you here.
It's so great to be here.
So talk to me just like initially, like how did you get into business? Because, it's one of those like things I know most people know that I'm a nurse and I got bored. So, hey, I decided to go into online business, still a nurse full time, but what's your story and how you ended up where you're talking about irresistible paid products?
So my background's actually in sports medicine. I worked as an athletic therapist in the Canadian Football
Okay.
League. Yep.
Oh,
So
wow. All right.
it's like nursing, sports med. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, and I did that for 10 years. And while I was working in the industry, I kept saying, okay, athletes, once they get to a certain age or if they get injured, there's nothing for them to transition into after they leave sport.
Mm.
And so I saw this gap in the market and I was like, okay, someone's got to do something about this. Like someone really needs to do something about this. And then one day I just said it one too many times and I realized, oh, that somebody's me.
It's gonna be
So
you.
it was, one of those things. It just happens. And so I left the professional sports industry. I went back to school. I did my master's in business, got the knowledge that I needed to come back and help solve this problem. And I've been working with athletes ever since. And then, 2020 happened and it was all of a sudden, working with athletes, trying to figure out what happens next. But all of a sudden, everyone was out of work. There
Mm,
was no sport. And so
wow.
I realized nobody cares what happens next if they don't know what happens now. And so this is
Ooh.
where I transitioned and I wrote a book with the knowledge that I had in my head, which was, I can teach people how to create irresistible paid products that can, make them an income and just help support them through this time. And this all spun off from that, and it's been wonderful. It's a new group of people that I'm working with, a new
Yeah.
audience, and it's so fun. It's so much
I can
fun.
imagine people like, wait, coming, a new group coming to you. What's it been like making that transition from completely athletes? I don't know, like my imagination is like they come in like, don't you know me? And I'm like, no, I don't. But don't you know me? And kind of being a little arrogant to people like really craving your information. Like, how has that transition been for you?
It's been so interesting because I mean, I speak sport. I'm fluent in football. I'm fluent in figure skating. I also worked with professional figure skaters. And so it's like
Whoa.
I can speak that language. And
Okay.
so coming back to this world, the real world, where it's just like regular talk, right?
Yes.
It's different, but it's so much fun. And I think at the heart of it, people are people. It really doesn't matter what you do or really who you are. At the
Mhm.
heart of it, we all want the same things. And
Yeah.
so it's just been neat to open up this huge new world, yeah, with all these really interesting, fun people. It's been great.
Do you think that we meaning business owners, small business owners, kind of count ourselves out and don't really think big enough? Or you think like it's okay?
That's something I think that's been with me throughout my life. Like I live in the future, love the future, dream about the future, dream big. It's something that I think has just been in me, something that's been taught. And I find so often small business owners, yeah, they do have a tendency to limit themselves, and they do have a tendency to believe that maybe it's possible, it might be possible, and slow step it. But it's like, man, our world is so big and there's so many people that need help, and there's so many people that need all of these different services that, business owners, small business owners are providing. So it's
Yeah.
like dream big.
Yeah, dream big. I would just imagine like, the athlete coming in, making
Yep.
their whatever salary, thinking they can sign something and it'll go $1 million. But maybe we have a different mindset, the small business owner, that we can't just do one thing, or the hustle mentality. I don't know what it is. But anyway, I just thought like, I wonder what that difference is like for her. That's a very interesting difference going from athletes. Do you still work with athletes, or you're mainly working with the small business owners right now?
I do still work with athletes. Also helping them, yes, still helping them figure out what's next. But with this new lane that I'm now in, it also helps them. And so that's
Mm,
been really cool. Some have like read the book and gone through it, and it's like, oh, I can build a product on my own. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do
yeah.
that. And so again, like we're all the same, like we're all there. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
Oh, I love, like, I don't know. That's a very interesting. We could probably talk about that all day because I think that's just super interesting how that works. But I guess my first question, well, I guess now my 10th question, we've
No, no,
gone
no.
through
Go
a little
ahead.
bit. So, to you, what is an irresistible paid product? And maybe that is a broad question, but when you say that, the IPP, what are you referring to when you say that?
Great question. And when I talk about an IPP, what it is, it's a product that you create that's designed to solve a specific problem that your audience is having. And so it can be a book, an online course, templates, printables. The key is, and what makes it so irresistible, is that it's easy for your audience to access and it's easy for your audience to consume. So that once they purchase your
Mm.
product and follow your teachings, their problem is solved and they'll have a success. Like that's the main thing.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, you've put it in such a simple term, but we make it super complicated because we're like,
Me
well,
too.
it's got to be a membership. It's got to be a course that has 10,000 modules, and it has to be a service that's like, 100 million hours, and I get paid $1, $1 for it. You know what I mean? Like, we make it super simple, or so sorry, we make it super complicated, and the way you've made it seem that it's simple, like this is something we do and somebody gets a result from it, and it's a no-brainer, in other words, right?
I exactly. And that's why it's so irresistible. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, why wouldn't I do this? Absolutely. Like it
So
just
let's
makes
go
sense.
in. Yeah, it does. Why would I need it? I think you already answered that, but I want to make sure that we go in why you need an IPP. Why can't I just have what I want?
So why you need one. The first reason is credibility. If you're a new coach, or even if you've been at it for a while, but you're just not getting the traction that you want to have, an IPP shows that you know what you're talking about, and it shows your audience that you know how to solve their problems. And it also shows that you have the courage to put your work out there into the world. I find, so many people are talking about what they can do and what they can offer, but they haven't delivered anything yet. And so,
Mm.
having an IPP makes you different. Yeah, in addition to that, it also allows people to sample your work. So,
Mm.
when you create, your first one, your second one, your third one, I encourage people to do more. You're showing what you have to offer. And so while your coaching services might be priced in the hundreds or even thousands, this IPP can be an entryway for someone who may not be ready for your full services.
Gotcha.
And yeah, and I mean, that also leads into it also gives you greater access to your work, or gives people greater access to your work. So if, again, they might not be ready for one of your higher paid like offers, this IPP can be a lower price offer that they can come in, get to know you, still get help from you, and you can reach so many more people that way.
And let me make sure I understand. Are we taking away the freebie? Are we taking away because, I don't I won't say back in the day. What are we talking about? 3 years ago? Back in the day of business, it really can be a year. They really talked about creating your freebie, and your freebie goes into your course or something like that. That's kind of like the
Mhm.
standard is what you're taught. Are you telling us now, let's be a little controversial. Are you
Okay,
telling us
let's do it.
now that you would rather us to have the IPP as the way of getting the taste of working with us and not the freebie? Is it a bridge? Is it instead of? What are we using the IPP for in that context?
So in that context, we're using the IPP as an addition to. So I still like the freebie. I still
Okay.
like giving away free stuff, free knowledge to help everyone. If
Yeah.
something I can produce can help someone, then great. Your IPP is that next level. And
Mm,
I mean, if it's helpful, usually, you can price it anywhere between $7 all the way up to 200, 250. So there is a wide range in there, but
yeah.
it's just, again, that bridge that's between, free and your high paid coaching service offers that you have. That's a
Yeah.
great question.
So, okay. So, I mean, we just want to make sure we understand. So, we got a nice price range. She just gave us that nice price range. So, I appreciate that. What is, or is there a difference in the IPP and the tripwire? Because it's the way it's reading it's reading as a tripwire. Now that's a bad way of saying something, and I'm gonna guess the IPP is a lot more like human first as opposed to like a automated like trip over this and give me money. You know what I mean? Is what that implies a tripwire is. But what
Absolutely.
is the difference? I may have just answered my question, so I do that sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, you did really. That's what it is. When you're creating something, it's something intentional, something that really solves a problem, not just piece of it, but it takes them through whatever that specific problem is. It's you're creating for a specific audience in mind. Now, you can have it show up as a tripwire if you want to put it that way, but again, the intention behind it is that it could stand on its own. It does stand on its own. You can promote it on its own, or you can have it as an add-on eventually if you want to do that too.
Okay, sweet. Okay. I The term tripwire is
I
very
know.
automated, and I mean, it's implying I'm tripping over something and falling. I mean, isn't that what a tripwire is? You fall over something. So but not in a good way. Like, it's like, trip and give me your money. I don't know. It's a little funny term for me. So I like the thought of IPP. And you're saying that instead of that you don't necessarily have to have the IPP in a funnel, like I'm creating this to lead to this, to lead to that. I mean, the IPP is a selection of products. And you said before, you can have more than one. What's your thought process on that? Because you said it alluded to having more than one, and we're like, no, have one thing. You know,
I
that's what everyone tells you, you know?
I say start with one.
Okay.
So start with your first one, and then after that, see where it can go. I mean, there's so many different types that you can create, and depending on what you have to offer, what you speak about, you can create smaller projects, smaller pieces of that information that can help someone. So they don't necessarily have to go through your whole big coaching package if they're not ready for it at that time.
Mm.
But yes, definitely, I say start with one.
Yeah. Yeah. Start
Sometimes
with one.
people
Okay.
start with five
It's
and
like,
then
I've
nothing
got
gets
5 of
done.
them. Here you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you,
it is
I feel
start
like
with one.
we need to keep going because I can ask 10 questions. So let's keep going.
Absolutely.
So let's see. So growing your business, your coaching business, how it can help you grow your coaching business. We wanted to talk about that.
Yes. And I mean, the first thing is it increases your income streams. So when you create an IPP,
Oh, we all
you
like that.
create, right? It's like you create a new avenue to make money, and which with each one that you build, you're creating more and more avenues. And that's huge. That also gives you more time. If you're not needing to, meet with clients one on one or even with groups, because you're able to make money that's coming into you either through digital downloads or physical products that are being shipped where you don't have to be that much like hands-on with it,
Mhm.
then that's great. It gives you more time. And I mean, you could meet with more clients, you could do more group stuff, or you could create more. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's just why it's so great. And I mean, the IPP, it also helps you grow your email list, right? You
Yes.
talked about the freebie and having that. You can put it in a funnel. You can have it in something that, really entices your new audience or your current audience to say, hey, you know what? I do need help with that. And hey, you did give me help with that freebie that you offered.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do want to try this out. I don't know if I'm ready for all of it, but you
Right.
know what? This is great. And so all of these things, help you grow and scale your business in such a way that I mean it's fun because you're doing something and you're creating something that interests you, that you love, that can help people. And it's like you're just saying, hey, I made this for you. Here's a gift.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, that's really what it's all about.
So, I think we're probably getting into the next topic here with the path to creating that IPP and exactly how you create it. In my mind, again, these are questions that it's just questions I'll be asking. But in my mind, I'm thinking, so if you had this coaching business, if you had this service that you provide and you're looking to create the IPP, I guess I'm thinking to work backwards, but maybe you're kind of like, no, you can start with the IPP and work forward. But in my mind, if I have a coaching business and I want people to be at a certain step or certain goal before they work with me, then my IPP can address how to get them to that goal. In my brain, that's how it would look. What do you think?
I mean, that is awesome. Like that is definitely a place to start. If you want to do it that way. When I created it, the intention was for someone who hasn't done anything before.
Okay.
They need to bring in an extra stream of income. It might be in addition to their jobs. It might be in addition to their business. But because of what happened, because of the downturn in 2020, just with
Yeah.
everything that happened, it was like
Yeah.
they needed something fast. They needed something that could help support them. And so
Okay.
really when you're going through the path, it's really you get to choose. You get to choose where you start. If it's a bridge for your current clients or if it's, creating something to start a business, which happens all the time.
Mhm.
Like that, you can go either way. And so that's the beauty of it when you create products.
Yeah. So how do we get those ideas? Because, you know, it's great thinking, okay, I could have this irresistible paid product and everybody's buying my thing, hey, like let me be modest. I'm gonna say it's $47. And I'm on social media and I'm talking about it. I'm talking about the success that people can get from it and the success people have gotten from it. But if I'm new
Mhm.
or or if I'm a coach and I'm thinking about, and I normally do coaching one-on-one or group programs, whatever, where do I even start with thinking up an idea for what would be considered a IPP? How do I do that?
A wonderful question. And I am big on simplifying everything. That's just how my mind works. It likes to break things down. And so I created a system and it's called the PED Path. And it's a 3-part system, and each piece of the system has 3 steps. And so P stands for preparation, E for execution, and D for delivery. So that's the PED in PED Path. And would you like me to go through all the steps and
Yeah.
like,
Heck
okay, let's
yeah. Heck
go.
yeah. And if I said
Awesome.
no, they'd be like, shut up, Nicole, get out of the way. Yes, heck yeah. Go ahead.
So wonderful. So the first step in preparation is you, and it starts with you. Are you ready? Can you set aside time to create this IPP? What's your workspace like? Have you been getting in your own way? Like this is big for people first starting out. They think, oh yeah, I can do this, and then they jump in, and nothing around them is organized or prepared or really encouraging what they need in order to create. And so once all of that is set up, the next part of the system is your idea. And that's finding it, narrowing down your choices, validating your idea. Is it a good idea? And there's a whole, again, another process just to doing that and breaking it down in simple, easy ways from, storming, brainstorming, but I call it storming, to prompts, to reflections. There's a whole path that you can follow just to get that idea and then validate it, which is so much fun and narrow it down. And
Yeah.
then after that, in the preparation stuff is your audience, like who are you creating for? It's like, sometimes we go out and we're like, oh, I just want to do this. And it's like you jump
Yeah.
into it and then it's like, oh, wait, who is this for again?
Who is it for? Yeah. And I put all my
Exactly.
things. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then what problem are you solving? And so this is the preparation stage. So it's just getting through these 3 steps, and then you're ready to execute. And execution, oh, it's so much fun. It's the first part is the blueprint. So outlining frameworks, storyboards, all of the pieces that you need to put your IPP in motion. And so again, I lay that out. And then probably the part that people dread the most is the tech, that next step.
Oh,
So the hardware, the software,
yeah.
right? Free
Yeah.
versus paid. Everything that you'll use to deliver your work, right? Like that's the part that
Yeah.
really gets people like, oh, what do we do? And so
Right.
we lay it out. And then comes the construction. And I like to say, this is where the magic happens. This is where you create. This is where you write. This is where you build your course. This is where you deliver your principles. This is where you build your templates. Whatever it is you're working on, this is where it happens. And then the
So,
last part.
okay,
Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well, in
No,
my
no.
brain, I was thinking, what about the heft, is that the word? The heft of your IPP, because you're laying out the steps. At what point do you kind of go, because I tend to do this, I want to put more, I want to put more, I want to put more in it. Where do you stop? And then we can go on to your next step, for sure, but where do we stop? How do we know it's too much? Where do we kind of say this is a really good product that will get the result and I don't need to add anything else to it?
Yes. So if you go back to that blueprint stage, which is the first one in the first step in execution, that's
Mhm.
where you're creating your outline. And again, I simplify everything. That's where all the steps are laid out. How do you create this blueprint? How many steps do you need? How many pieces do you need? And there's guidelines, there's worksheets, there's things there to help direct you and guide you. Because you know what? You're absolutely right. There is a tendency for us to want to create something that's so big,
Yeah.
But when you go back to really what an IPP is, it's simple, it's easy to consume. It's something that someone can walk through and get the answer to this one problem. And
Mm.
so once you get that idea, validate that idea, figure out what that problem is you're solving, when you start outlining and building out your framework, you pull pieces out. It's like, first, yeah, we get everything down, write everything out, okay, put it on paper, and then what do you take away? And that's part of the process, knowing what stays and what goes.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I
Mhm.
like the thought
Yeah,
of we're not just adding, but there's a point in your process where we say, okay, take out because we love
absolutely.
to throw more and more and more in. Okay. You had one more step, or did you have a few more
Yes,
stages
there's
there?
one more
Okay.
stage,
Okay. Go
and
ahead.
the last part is delivery.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
that's your distribution channels. What platforms are you going to use to deliver this IPP? And
Yes.
then after that, website. And the question I like to ask is, do you really need one? And so you go through that
Ooh.
process of figuring out if having your own website is what you need.
Yeah.
And last but not least, marketing promotion. And so,
Mm.
how will people know about your IPP? And so, different suggestions that are out there, and you walk through that. And again, figure out what's right for you. I like to say there's no one way to do anything. And if
Yeah.
someone's telling you that there is, there isn't.
Don't
Like
trust.
I've
Yeah. Don't
looked,
trust
I've
that.
searched,
Yeah.
and so it's like the information that's there, it's there to guide you, and then you choose what works for you. You choose what feels good to you, what fits
Yeah.
best, because that is really at the heart of loving what you do. It's like if
Mm.
you have to do something that you don't like, it doesn't make for a really great day. So
Yeah.
what are the things that you can do really to really be into your work and to really love waking up in the morning and doing it?
And so your process is outlined in your book, correct?
Yes. And
Okay.
the book is called The Other Side. I should give you guys the title. The book is called The Other Side,
Yes.
a simple guide to turn what you know and love into what you sell. And it's
Ve
available on Amazon.
Okay, there you go. I'm glad that, we definitely could go through your because I didn't think we'd get all that. That's that's awesome.
Yeah.
Or we went through her process, y'all, but definitely go pick up that book because, this is someone who has made, income streams for athletes, and they're used to like, "Oh, so I just put my number on put my name on something and it blows up." This is somebody
Right?
who's created that. So that makes me super excited to read it for sure. So guys, let's get into our next segment because that segment was absolutely awesome. With your best business advice for online coaches after this brief break. Okay, so you guys know this segment is about living your best online business life. And we ask our guests, what business advice do you have for our audience? And I wanted to make sure I asked the same thing to Chellaine, and she's going to give us that answer right now.
Yes. So what I have to say is having an irresistible paid product can help you scale your coaching business. Not only that, it can help you change your life. With an IPP, you can know the freedom of making money while you're standing in line at Starbucks waiting for a grande oat milk latte. Like it's unbelievable. It just gives you so much freedom.
Wow. So, you guys, if you haven't already, make sure that you check out her book. Tell us one more time. what the title of the book is, so you guys can know exactly how to create your IPP, whether you've been in this for a while, whether it is you do one-on-one coaching, whether, whatever the case may be, that you guys can truly get the freedom of creating that particular product in your business. So what's the name of it again, one more time?
Yes, the book is called The Other Side, a simple guide to turn what you know and love into what you sell.
Got it. Love it. So we're about to go into our next segment, Let's Connect, where we are all about connecting our audience members and our guests because we like y'all talking and, getting together here. So, Chellaine, I want to know, who would you like to pull into your inner circle? Who is it that you want to find out and get to know?
Yes, so it seems I like threes. So I have three people. I would like to get to know Kelsey Clark, Carrie Green, and yes, I know he's a he, Seth Godin. Those are my three people that I'd love to connect with.
And okay, so for those who may not know, I always say, for those who may not know who these people are, can you tell us just a little bit about each of them? And like, other than the fact that it'd be cool to get to be in their inner circle, have them in your inner circle, like, why would you want to do that?
Yes. Chelsea Clark, when I first started getting into this, I would look at what she does and how she offers or places her offers. And she does a lot of really good work in niche industries and blogging. And it's just such a nice compliment to what I do. And so I thought, you know what? I'd like to get to know her. I'd like to have a conversation with her since, it's so different. Carrie Green and we have a similar background, a similar audience, and I just really like the way that she teaches, the way that she approaches her business, and the way that she helps people. And again, I thought, hey, that would be a great person to connect with.
Yeah.
And Seth Godin is just marketing genius, similar background to mine, but I really love his approach to not only work, but as he puts it, creating art. And I agree. I believe all of us are artists and we all have something to contribute. And yeah, just connecting with him, talking to him would be wonderful. And yeah, thanking him for the work that he does because he produces some really great stuff. And if you haven't checked any of these people out, I would encourage you to. They all have something so good to offer, to give, and to share. So
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna tag them in this because we just, you never
never know.
know. This would be like the coolest thing ever. But if you know or know somebody who knows these people, we love for you to get in our comments and say tag somebody who knows them or whatever, so we can make this connection with Chellaine and Seth, Carrie, and Chelsea, because that's just it's pretty awesome to just say, you know what, and most of the people who come on here, they do say, I want to get to know these people. They don't quite know the names, but you're telling me what you want. So I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. So thank you so much for doing that. Again, get in the comments. If you know these people, people who know these people, we're going to tag them here. And it would be that most coolest thing. Look, get in the comments and just tag these people and just say, tag them so they see, well, why are we constantly getting tagged for this? Who is this girl? She's awesome. We need her on our shows and our things. So that's awesome. So yeah, so other than that, where can we find you? And for people who want to work with you, hey, you never know, we might have some athletes in the audience who might want to talk to you about that IPP. But for anybody else who wants to get a hold of you and talk to you about their IPP, creating it, how to create it, tell us how we can get a hold of you.
Yes, best place to connect with me is going to my website, chellaine.com. I can spell CHELLAINE.com. Or you can send me an email to chellaine@chellaine.com. Simple, right?
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's, yeah, when it's simple, remember, you're all about the simplicity. I like that.
I really am.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on the show and for discussing what an IPP is, first off, and giving us all ideas because, we sometimes get our thought process in one way, and we need to diversify, I think, our income streams and diversify our businesses. And, you've just given us a really great way to diversify it with the IPP.
Awesome. I'm so glad. And you know what? Everyone just get out there, start creating, and just have the courage to deliver your work. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one expects it to be perfect. It just needs to be out there. There's someone waiting for you to help them.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank my guest today, Chellaine, and all the information she's given us and, an interesting behind the scenes. I don't know. I'm super interested in this whole athlete thing. I think that's just like, that's the most interesting thing ever to even do that. But anyway, so I thank her for being on the show. And if you are just as cool as Chellaine, and you work with amazing people, coaching them, I'd love to have you on the show. Go to fempreneuronline.com/apply to be on next season because we're wrapping up our season recording. And I'm so grateful for all of my guests that have been here. And so at the end of all of our episodes, we always say, who's next? Okay, I'm bringing Chellaine back on. We are still live for those who watch the after show part of it, which we have it featured like on YouTube more so. But for those who watch the after show, what we do is we put together the show, and there's certain things I got to get on video and on audio, and this is how we get them on video and audio by doing the after show. So let's see here. So we're going to go ahead on the private chat as we were. And I don't know if you were reading what I was telling you there to begin with. But I'm going to get off of the screen and mute myself. As soon as I get off the screen, like wait 2 seconds and then just read the first sentence or the first statement, pause, read the second statement, pause, and then read the third statement. And, do your best to memorize it. If you don't, that's fine. But do your best to memorize it. Take a breath if you make a mistake. Just pause again for editing's sake.
Okay.
So that way I can say, oh, that was a mess up. Okay, what's the next one? Okay. So I will get any questions. I'm going to make sure that we're good there. So I'm going to get off of the screen and then quiet my side so there's no funniness from my mic. Okay. Hold on just a second.
Hey, I'm Chellaine Shockness Haye, and you're listening to the Fempreneur Coach Connection. Hey, I'm Chellaine Shockness Haye, and you're listening to the Fempreneur Coach Connection. Hey, I'm Chellaine Shockness Haye, and you're listening to the Fempreneur Coach Connection. Hey, I'm Chellaine Shockness Haye, and you're watching the Fempreneur Coach Connection. Hey, I'm Chellaine Shockness Haye, and we're talking about irresistible paid products, aka IPPs, only on the Fempreneur Coach Connection.
Yay! Okay, we did that.
Took me a little while.
It's okay. It's perfectly fine. I just, want you to be comfortable. People are like, no, I'll say it again. I'll say it again. Especially the actresses. They'll say it again. They'll say it again. I'm like, okay, like I'm done. But anyway, I will cut the feed in just a second. Thank you guys for watching live.